Guys, lots of new fragrance discoveries for me during my travels in September and October, and I'm putting them in a video for you today as a highlight video of new fragrances and new brands to look into. If you're curious to discover new fragrances and new brands, this is the video for you, so please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about new fragrances, new brands, new fragrances I discovered during my travels, and this is a highlight video of those fragrances. Why don't we go ahead and get started with the first fragrance, going to a brand I know of very well. I've known about this brand for a good 7 years. This is Parfums Dusita's latest fragrance, La Rhapsodie Noire, this one right here, the first gourmand for this house. And this is a gourmand in that it's not your traditional gourmand. I feel like the notes in this fragrance are not necessarily uber gourmand, you know, not caramel and things like that, chocolate and things like that. And for me, I feel like when I look at the notes for this fragrance, it kind of fits in line with something like Raja Parfums Sweetie Oud, using those kind of notes to create this kind of a gourmand fragrance. They're not smelling alike. I'm just kind of like connecting the notes usage for both of the fragrances. For me, there is kind of a bready, nutty quality here, a bit vanillic as well and a bit sweet, but it's very, very woody. And the usage of the notes in this are like notes like tonka beans, sage, lavender, oak, vanilla, patchouli, oak moss, vetiver, and sandalwood. So you can see the notes are not necessarily your uber gourmand notes, but it's a delicious kind of a bready, nutty, silky smooth kind of a gourmand. Anyway, La Rhapsodie Noire is the first fragrance I'm talking about. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm doing an Instagram live on Monday, 11:30 a.m. San Francisco time, with Parfums Dusita to discuss this new fragrance and also some of their other fragrances from the brand. They are doing a full bottle, 100 ml bottle giveaway of La Rhapsodie Noire as well worldwide. So please tune in for that. The next fragrance is a new brand that I discovered. It's Mood Parfums by Bruno Perrucci, an Italian brand. This is a fragrance called ALIAS. Look at that bottle. This is a delicious gourmand with animalic undertones, more on the musky side rather than like full-on like really intense animalics. This is a chocolate or cacao with tobacco, rum, woodsy notes, labdanum, licorice, vanilla, saffron, musk, birch fragrance. So there's definitely a chocolatey presence here and a booziness. Of course, there's that bit of dirty ashiness from the tobacco in this as well. I mean, lots of woods and ambery touches, and then of course you've got that licorice in here to give it a very interesting contrast of something kind of green and boozy. A little bit. I find licorice to have a kind of a booziness, so basically it's accentuating the rum booziness in this particular fragrance, but a little more green booziness, if that makes sense. But there's leathery touches, there's lots of musk in this, a bit smokiness from that birch note, and of course sweetness from the vanilla. Really delicious, really unique bottle. As you can see, it's a really unique presentation and really intense fragrance as well. So if you like your fragrances long lasting, a bit musky, lightly animalic, and gourmand at the same time, definitely check out this brand. Bruno Perrucci is the perfumer, and the brand is named Mood Parfums by Bruno Perrucci, and this is a fragrance called ALIAS. Does any of you know that particular fragrance? Do let me know, put a comment down so I can find out. Up next is a fragrance I discovered on one of my shopping trips while I was in Europe from a brand called OMANLUXURY. This is Royal Incense, this one right here. Man, this one really blew me away. And I'm kind of like really into the idea of incense fragrances now. And I like the incense fragrances that are connected with sweet notes, because when you have incense in a fragrance, frankincense, olibanum, incense, all of these kind of notes, just by themselves without a contrasting sweet note, it becomes really cold and dark wearing experience. This one has loads of honey along with the incense, so it brightens up the fragrance and makes for an easier wear. So this is the 2020 launch. Perfumer is Philippine Courtiere. Features notes of incense, honey, amber, leather, cedar, musk, geranium, pink pepper, lily, and vetiver. There's definitely a little bit of a rosy presence here, and I'm thinking I'm getting that from the geranium along with the pink pepper to create this kind of rosiness in here. It's not like a rose fragrance, I just get that in here, but it's all about the honey and the amber with the leather. One other thing I should mention about this, it does remind me of discontinued Kilian's Incense Oud a little bit. and I love that fragrance. Sadly, it's discontinued, and now I have a replacement for it. It's OMANLUXURY Royal Incense, a wonderful, wonderful fragrance. If you don't know it, check it out. Next, going to the house of Miles WAMBAUGH. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And this is a fragrance I first discovered in 2019. I finally really can talk about it because I have a bottle of this particular fragrance. I should say the brand I discovered in 2019, but this is a fragrance called Coup d'Etat, this one right here, with the most unique bottle created by Pierre Denand. I don't know if you guys know that bottle designer, but you can see it's a really nice looking bottle. It looks like a lighter or something to do with guns or something like that. But a great fragrance created by Dominique Ropion with Jean-Louis Sieuzac. It's a 2019 launch, and it's a powdery fragrance. It's all about iris, and there's geranium here, there's lavender, there's cardamom, vanilla, patchouli with cypriol. I do get somewhat of kind of like a hint at Diorum Intense, but not necessarily identical. I just get it when I'm wearing this particular one, but it's uber powdery with beautiful, gorgeous, very luxurious iris note in here. So Coup d'Etat from the house of Miles WAMBAUGH, as you can see right there. I hope that focuses, and that's the fourth fragrance I'm talking about today that you guys should check out. So up next, going to the house of Francesca Bianchi. It's Unspoken Musk, this one right here, the latest offering from this house. And it's a beautiful musk, definitely fitting in line with the DNA of Francesca Bianchi fragrances. It's leathery, it's animalic, it's musky in this case, and tonka beans are prominent here. Sandalwood is prominent, iris is as well. This one doesn't get as leathery as her other fragrances. It does get a little bit, but not too much. But for me, it's musk, a bit animalic musk, like deer musk, but it's kind of contrasted with kind of like a sweet, almost gourmandish touch that the DNA of Francesca Bianchi has in the fragrances, because the iris in here is very, very buttery, so it kind of creates a little bit of a gourmand, vegetal gourmand touch in here, because it takes when you've got the iris with its butteriness, and you add that vanilla in there, so kind of I'm thinking of recipes, and that's what I get with this one, kind of like a bit of a gourmand butteriness along with that really sexy musk in here. Really delicious fragrance from Francesca Bianchi. It's Unspoken Musk. Definitely check that out if you don't know it. Up next, a brand I first discovered last June while I was on another trip. And finally I dug into this brand. This is a brand called D'Orsay, and this is a fragrance called COEUR PERDU LB. Very complicated naming for this particular fragrance, sadly, but the brand is really, really great. It's a classic brand, once again, that's been resurrected, and they've updated their bottles, and this is the fragrance right here, a fragrance created by Fanny Ball. So I know this perfumer, and I think she does really good work with Orange Blossom. She did a fragrance for Frederic Malle called Sale Gosse. That's an Orange Blossom bomb. Really nice fragrance she did. She's also done similar fragrance, but not identical, to Costume National. And this is also another one that she's done. So I like the work she does with Orange Blossom, and this one has lots of Orange Blossom. But along with it, you also have Ambroxan, you got Oak Moss, Cashmiran, Neroli, Iris, Aldehydes, Bergamot, and Lemon. For me, this is a musky citrus floral balm, if that makes sense. So it's got lots of musk here. That you've got the Ambroxan, a bit of leathery smokiness from the Oak Moss here, lots of musk. The Cashmiran adds that muskiness as well. And then there's a fizzy, powdery touch here with that Iris aldehyde as well. This is a brand I'm going to really dig into very soon, but I'm quite impressed with a lot of the fragrances, because when I was in Milan in June, the day after Essence, I visited the store Campo Marzio, and I first discovered the fragrances of this brand there. I spent like 2 hours smelling every single fragrance they had, and I was quite impressed, and finally I'm going to dig into the brand. They've got some great fragrances with the most complicated names, sadly, and it's a very French brand with French names. So hopefully I'll dig into more, but if you guys know this brand, if you're French or you know about them, do let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. Really loving this brand, D'Orsay from Paris. I'd like to go to their store as well next time I'm in Paris. So moving on, I reported about this in my haul video. This is one that I picked up from Jovoy. And another French brand, Le Eau Primordial Color Premiere. This is the fragrance. This one is a musky aldehydic fragrance, completely different than the last one. It doesn't have This is the bottle here. It doesn't have the orange blossom neroli touch here. This is more like laundry clean sheets and fizzy, sparkling, and powdery at the same time. This is a perfume created by Arnaud Poilin. I think that's how you say his name. It's ozonic notes. We've got white musk here. We've got powdery notes. It's just a very clean spring. Like it's a spring in your step, kind of an uplifting, sparkling fragrance. That the brand's fragrances were displayed on the counter at Javoy. I smelled it and I instantly fell in love with it, so I had to buy it. So it's another brand that I'd like to just, you know, kind of like explore and dig into as well. I sadly didn't get to meet them while I was in some of the shows that I went to, but I'm going to dig into the brand. But let me know if you know Les Eaux Primordiales. If you do, let me know what you think about them. And have you tried Color Premier from the brand? It's from 2018. I do like their bottles as well, but yeah, put a comment down if you know about that brand and what do you think about their fragrances. So we've got a few fragrances here from a brand called Belle Rebel. I'm categorizing them together because the two together layer really nicely. And even though the fragrances do smell great separately, I like this combination because it's kind of a rosy, smoky bomb. So this is a brand called Belle Rebel, and this is a fragrance called, let's see, Unrequited, this one right here, and then this one is called Air. So the two together, well, first let me tell you about Air. Air is mountain air, birch tar, ISOE super, musk, and cade. And Air is very smoky. It's this really like smells like barbecue smoke with that kind of mountain air. I think the birch tar in here is uber smoky, and it smells like barbecue. If you like that kind of a smell, if you like smoky fragrances, definitely try this one. And then Unrequited is a kind of green metallic rose. It also has aldehydes in it and spices. But for me, the roses in here, there's like 3 types of rose in here. It just has a major overdose of roses. And then you've got that kind of uplifting, kind of sparkling, fizzy aldehydes in here and spicy black pepper. But the two together creates for a barbecued rose experience, almost smelling like what's the fragrance from Gucci? I forgot the name. Hortus Sanitatis. If you guys know that fragrance, really love that fragrance, but this is a layering combo of the two fragrances together to accomplish that. Really great combination of notes. I like the two layered together and individually, but let me know if you guys know this brand. I believe the brand is a store in London, and now they have their fragrances, and I think they're definitely worth checking into. Belle Rebel Air and Belle Rebel Unrequited. Alright, the next house is called Fabbrica della MUSA, and the fragrance is Via Velluto, this one right here. Beautiful, kind of a luxury bottle. As you can see, fragrances are all created by Hamid Merati-Kashani, and this one's a very fresh, springy kind of a fragrance. I think this will be a perfect fragrance to wear warm spring days, because it's got this kind of beautiful fruitiness in there and also rosiness, plus it's got watery notes, so it's got this freshness here and ozonic touches, and I think it will be perfect for, you know, on those hot spring and summer days to kind of like give you a boost of kind of like uplifting excitement and energy kind of a thing, you know? It features raspberry, watery notes, there's incense, there's rose damascena, there's peony, there's violet, there's vetiver, musk, and sandalwood. Really delicious creation. As I said, it's very, very fresh and uplifting. Very refreshing, sparkling, effervescent, but it's got lots of flowers, it's got that watery touch, so it's just got this kind of a very invigorating blast if you wear it, and you'll kind of have this kind of like boosted energy kind of a thing when it's really warm outside and you're kind of like struggling with the heat and things like that. And you just spritz this on, it kind of gives you that cool blast with the fresh notes. Anyway, this is Fabbrica della MUSA Via Velluto. Let me know if you guys know that brand and that fragrance. I think it's definitely worth checking into. The brand is very Italy inspired. Several months ago I did a video on mango fragrances. Many of you mentioned that I should have included this particular fragrance in the video. Sadly I hadn't sampled it, but guess what? I have access to it now. This is GISADA Ambassador for Men, created by Andreas Wilhelm, launched in 2019, and definitely loads of mango here. But this is a very woody fragrance. It kind of also reminds me of some fruity fragrances from Xerjoff. I don't know why this reminds me of it, but it kind of does. I put some on here, but it's lots of mango, so it has this fruitiness, but it also has spices and lots of woods and ambery touches as well. So if you like the idea of a fruity, woody, spicy, ambery fragrance, definitely try this one. But it's lots of mango. Mango, you know, I like that note. It doesn't create for a very fruity presence, but then it does again. I associate a lot of fruits with smells. Some have a stronger smell than others. Mangoes to me don't really smell too strong. So this one, even though there's a fruity presence, it doesn't have that kind of overwhelming fruitiness, if that makes sense. But lots of mango here with cardamom. There's vanilla, there's amber, there's vetiver, teakwood, moss, black pepper, lavender, apple, mandarin, and violet. Yeah, I think it's definitely solid. It does remind me of a Xerjoff fragrance. I don't know why. I think there's something about it. The DNA of it kind of has a kind of a Xerjoff like touch. I don't know. Have you guys noticed that? But either way, GISADA, Ambassador for Men. What do you guys think about that? Next fragrance, going to the house of OJAR. This is Cashmere Print. So OJAR just launched 100 ml bottles of their fragrances that used to be in oils, now as a eau de parfum spray. And Cashmere Print is one of my favorites. It's very musky and fresh and also a bit floral as well. It does have powdery touches, but this one seemed to be one of my favorites because it's got a very, very musky experience to it. It's featuring orris, white musk, mandarin, freesia, lily of the valley, rose, pink pepper, patchouli, and amber. Yeah, it does get some earthiness from that patchouli, woodiness from that patchouli, but also a bit ambery when it's drying down. But you experience lots of flowers. The flowers really kind of accentuate the muskiness because it's really, really musky with the white musk here. And I do get a bit of a cashmere touch as well, like cashmere musk or cashmeran in here. But it's very powdery, fresh, and very, very sexy as well. Cashmere Print. Great fragrance from the house of OJAR. Do let me know if you know that brand. I'd like to find out. Up next, going to the house of Maison Violet. This is Abîme. This one right here. I think that's how you say it. This is a brand new launch from this house. One of my favorite new houses that I've discovered from the last 3-4 years. And I love their fragrances. Abîme is a very woody and slightly smoky fragrance. It's a brand new fragrance created by Nathalie Lorson for Maison Violet, and it focuses on Palo Santo. Palo Santo is a very interesting woody note, very spiritual smelling actually for me. This one has a kind of a spiritual presence, a bit meditative. I kind of get this kind of a, you know, wear from Palo Santo note, but it's kind of like accentuated with a lot of woods here. Palo Santo has a creaminess and smokiness, but there's also sandalwood here with elemi resin, there's cedar, there's incense, black pepper, and chili pepper. Black pepper, incense to me together, really a great combination. They actually amplify one another beautifully, so it adds a smoky spiciness here, but the fragrance is very meditative, as I said, kind of very spiritual, and I think it's because of the addition of the Palo Santo with incense that's in here as well. So Abîme, a great scent from this house. It's not my favorite from this house. My favorite still is On Air d'Apogée, which was featured in my second Scent Club kit. But I think definitely if you like the idea of meditative, spiritual, the kind of calming, woody, smoky fragrance, definitely try that one. And the next fragrance I wanted to highlight, it's going to be in a box. So when I went to the Memo Paris boutique, I discovered a whole collection of exclusive fragrances that are only available at the boutique. I don't know if they're available on their website. I can't remember. I think it's the Wings collection, as you can see. It does give me a whole kind of a superhero-like kind of a touch to this collection, but the bottles have these wings. I posted about it. Let me open it up here. I don't want to drop it. And here is the bottle right there. I'll take it out. So this particular fragrance was my favorite in a collection of 5 fragrances. Is it Thor that has this kind of a thing? I don't know. I'm not a big Marvel guy. But this one to me smells super fantastic. It's got sesame seeds, vetiver, and sandalwood. So there's kind of like this shiny kind of a nuttiness to this fragrance, along with that earthy, woody vetiver, and then the creamy sandalwood. So there's definitely a very creamy presence with this particular fragrance. And I fell in love with this one and had to have a bottle. Plus, the bottle is so beautiful, as you can see. I mean, it's pretty boring here. As you can see here, it's pretty boring. It kind of reminds me of Guerlain's previous L'Art et la Métier fragrances. Like, look, it's even decantable, and that's how the L'Art et la Métier collection fragrances were. And then you add that on, and it just adds this really cool touch to the bottle. Really great fragrance. Really love this one. Can't wait to wear it. Just opening it up for the first time today for this video. But Memo Paris does have a exclusive collection of fragrances, and this is one of them. It's called Siberian Golden Woods. Next, another new house that I discovered not for the first time this trip though. I first discovered this house in 2019, early in 2019. This is PARFUMS, and this is Jour de Gloire. I think that's how you say it. Very complicated name, very French, but a great fragrance created by Bertrand Duchaffour. I don't know if you guys know this perfumer. He's very well known. This is a very cypress forward fragrance. Like if you like the idea of going into a backyard, a garden with lots of cypress trees and juniper trees and basil plants, that's what this one is. To me, lots of basil here, lots of cypress and lots of juniper, so it's very green, earthy, woody, very aromatic as well. And then along the way you got mate, you've got some myrrh, a bit ambery resinous, and then of course the earthy woodiness from the vetiver here. Very beautiful, very masculine. To me this is a very masculine leaning fragrance because of the notes. These are the notes I associate with masculine fragrances. That's the way I am with fragrances. Feminine notes, everybody could wear what they want though, but for me this one does lean masculine, but it's a great scent. If you like the idea of cypress, as I said, woods, green aromatics and spiciness, definitely check out this one. This is PARFUMS Jour de Gloire. And then finally the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the brand called Fueya 1833. This is Muscara Cacao, this one right here. It's interesting, I went to Milan and I went and visited the Fueya store there, and I had visited back in 2018 and also in 2019, so I visited again and really fell in love with this fragrance after smelling every single fragrance they have. They have over 100 fragrances there. This is a delicious cacao fragrance, very chocolatey and musky as well, and I think it's a great fragrance to wear in the winter. If you like chocolate, cacao, creamy and also powdery together, definitely try Fueya 1833's Muscara Cacao. And that's the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today. What are your thoughts on these fragrances? Are you familiar with these houses? Do you have these fragrances, or any of them that are brand new to you? Do they sound great to you for you to discover them? Do let me know. Put a comment down below. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. And speaking of cacao or chocolate, there's another fragrance from a house called Extra Virgo, brand new launch called Cacao Ritual. So this is a fragrance I fell in love with during my time in Florence. Unfortunately, as of now, and testing it out, it has become very, very animalic for me. So I can't find information on this fragrance, but it's lots of chocolate, and I'm getting lots of animalic notes. Most likely there's something civety in here, musk, maybe even castoreum, and even like hyraceum or something. But if you like the idea of a gourmand with animalic notes, definitely check out Cacao Ritual from Extra Virgo is the brand name. And then last but not least, a cheapie, another one that I discovered in my travels in Florence. This is from a pharmacy in Florence called Farmacia Cinghiale. I think that's how you say it. And this is patchouli. It comes in a little container like this. It's a very inexpensive fragrance. This is about 25 to 30 euros for a 50 ml. And if you like the idea of patchouli, it features patchouli, there's woods, there's balsamic notes, there's spices and myrrh. Very inexpensive house. It's a pharmacy that has their own fragrances. I mean, they're not like these wild packaging and things like that. They're very simplistic, but it's kind of like the inexpensive version of Santa Maria Novella or I Profumi di Firenze, or Farmacia di Annunziata, I think is the other one that has fragrances. But if you like cheap or inexpensive fragrances, definitely look into this house, especially if you're going to Florence, because you can find all kinds of fragrances here, any styles, for really, really inexpensive. And this is definitely a great patchouli. So this is patchouli from Farmacia Cinghiale. I think that's how you say it. Anyway guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for another video tomorrow. Bye-bye.